Ich sitze hier mit Biffy Clyro, guten Bekannten. Nice to meet you guys again and again and again.
Yeah, we love it. It's great to see you too.
Nice to see you.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Same with me. Nice having you guys. And we were just starting to talk about the new record. And I said I was able to listen to it for a couple of weeks as I got a stream. But, you know, in the last few weeks, I got the chance to see the video of Animal Style. And when I first watched it, you know, it was very impressive to me and very funny as well also because it's so direct. And I think if you see the pictures and then get the lyrics, it's like you say, well, I'm just an animal. And I was thinking about an older talk that we have when I talked about your song Shock Shock, you know, which I liked so much. It was an argument, you and your wife.
Yes.
And I was wondering, is that the second part of it, you know, that you say to your wife, well, I'm just an animal?
I think it's probably more about how I behave in general, probably more than just an individual kind of argument. I think it's kind of not liking what you see in yourself when you perhaps react a certain way to things, and it's tough because I'm always weird about describing necessarily exactly what a song's about, but it's definitely about those moments where you kind of almost don't recognize yourself because you turn into like almost a monster, you know, and you can't get a hold of your feelings or your emotions or your temper, and that's the song in the video. I think represents that in quite a way. It's kind of shows the I guess every human has a duality to them, you know, kind of has a kind of good side and a bad side, and I think this video kind of shows that we're maybe predominantly bad sides, but we're kind with it, you know, we're kind.
But I mean, that's always been a topic, like God and Satan, for example, right?
Yeah, I think like Simon says, life, you know, people share sort of different outlooks from day to day. Depends what side of the bed you get out of in the morning, and whatever mood you're in can really affect your judgment on a situation. So I think everybody is changeable like the weather, and but as long as there's enough good points in people.
I always think it's interesting what bands say about what kind of music or people have influenced the record. And so I read, this time it was the filmmaker John Waters, it was A$AP Rocky, so from the hip-hop part, then the Tears for Fears record, songs from The Big Chair, DJ Arca, so electronic, and then black metal with Deafheaven. So I was wondering, what does inspiration mean? Because all of these are totally different. How did they make you sound the way you sound now?
It's strange, you're so right, because someone can be inspiring. Like Arca, to me, is extremely inspiring because of all of his artwork, his commitment to his projects, his absolutely no interest in compromising or making anything approaching listenable or a song, you know. So that helped me in the last couple of years to just trust my opinion, I guess, and kind of realize that no one knows what we're trying to do as a band more than the three of us. You know, it's like, this is our thing. We like to make sure the artwork and everything is part of one piece, and that it's very much of the same time period. With Deafheaven, they're one of the few kind of rock bands in the last few years that I've been completely blown away by. You know, saw them live a couple of years ago, and I just think it's so beautiful, but yet so disturbing. And again, that's something that we try and bring to our music, is have real ugly moments and real beautiful moments. And there's probably one of the songs in the deluxe album, you'll probably hear a little of that musical influence. There's a song called In the Name of the Wee Man, which is probably the closest sound to being like Deafheaven. And Tears for Fears, that was basically the productions of those songs, you know, are beautiful, and they're really well written songs, and they're really quite odd. Tears for Fears, that's what I didn't realise. They were just a band that was around when we were growing up. I'm sure for all of us, they were just a band that was always there, and so to rediscover them and listen to it through different ears over the last couple of years, I kind of really appreciate the songwriting. I really appreciate how off the wall it is. I mean, like the song "Shout" is 6.5 minutes long. So you know that's bonkers. It's one of their biggest songs, and so yeah, the production of that was really rubbed off in this album. And I think the John Waters reference was, I compared our last three albums to kind of like Michael Bay movies or like Ridley Scott movies, which were big budget, beautiful, cinematic, epic, you know, rock records. And this one is a lot more grimier. It's a lot more of an indie movie. Even though we spent a long time on it, We wanted things to be just grimier. Everything's slightly wrong. We didn't record anything in the traditional way. Not one thing was done the right way. And I feel that's kind of what John Waters, kind of does in his hit. There's always just something slightly wonky about what he's doing. So yeah, that's sorry, that was a monologue, but it's like those inspirations are absorbed in different ways, and it basically, for our band, we've, our education is rock music and bands like Nirvana and Weezer and Soundgarden and many, many others, and we build everything upon that kind of foundation of rock music. So it, we listen to A$AP Rocky, we love the production and the vocal sounds, but it doesn't mean that I want to rap. You know what I mean? But so yeah, it's just everything builds upon us being a rock band and just kind of taking influences from different areas and trying different things.
Well, now you didn't mention Red House Painters, but I have to talk about this because I like Sun Kill Moon, and I like that he's mentioning you on the last.
How cool is that? I know we were in tour somewhere. I think was it Ben that heard.
We're in Los Angeles recording the album, actually, and I think James saw it on the internet somewhere that someone had mentioned that we'd be stoked that Mark Koslake had mentioned us. So I instantly tried to find this song, and I'm scanning through everything they had, and I finally found this song. And it is the best song on the album. Definitely the best song on the album. Best song on the album. And it just blew us away. I can't believe that he actually sang, "Guy from Biffy Clyro, I'm one of the best songwriters in the world." So we just dined out on that for a full day, just playing that song over and over again. It was just a real moment for us to have such a legend and a guy that's been such a massive inspiration to us all, to then mention us. It's just bonkers. I don't know what level that is even happening on, but it's crazy for us. It's really cool.
One of the most kind of beautiful and insane things that's happened. See, as Ben says, someone like that we've been listening to for 20 years, and suddenly our band is mentioned. It's so weird, because there's no other examples in music where that happens. It's not like he's one of the few writers that references other bands. So I don't think it's so random to be referenced in a song by one of your favourite songwriters. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of the world before.
Well, if your career was over now, it doesn't matter because he did it.
Exactly. We're going out on a high, Mark. Thank you, Mark. We can end it here.
And he can be cruel. I mean.
Yeah, I know. Please be kind. Please be kind. We've been very kind to you, Mark.
When I first listened to Wolves of Winter, I found like you were very tight again, which is what I liked a lot on some of your older songs. And I think it is a statement that you say, if we are the wolves and you try to get into our place, we will kind of eat you or make you down. So is that good? Does it show that you are a team or a family? Or is that kind of a result, people trying to change anything in your behavior or your career?
A little of both. I think every time we make an album, we kind of you've got hair just hanging down a really weird way.
Sorry.
Every time we make an album, yes, all good. We kind of, it always strips it back, because we go on tour for a couple of years and there's always loads and loads of people around and everything, and then we go and make a record and it's back to the three of us. So it's always a reminder that really this band is just the three of us. Like, if we're not here, nothing happens. And then I've totally forgotten the question.
The question was...
Wolves of Winter, yeah. And basically, I felt like last year, it was just, we were gently being kind of told that it would be good if you made a record right now, and I had someone in my ear kind of just not helping me and trying to kind of force certain things out of me and kind of giving me their opinion on our band, so this song is basically about the only people that know about this band inside out are the three of us, and the three, we started this band when we were 14. And at the end of the day, if people stop listening to us or we get dropped by the label, it's still going to only be the three of us doing this. So we're the ones that this matters to most, and there's no way we're relinquishing control or vision of this band just because we become a bigger band. Suddenly, it's not fair game for everyone to have an opinion, And I'm talking in terms of our team, So yeah, it felt like last year there was a couple of points where we had to just put our foot down and just say, you know what, leave us to it. We'll get on this. This isn't our first rodeo,
Hopefully they will get it.
Yeah, well, no, they're too arrogant for that.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I don't know when we had the first interview ever, but it was a pretty long time ago. So, looking back on the last show, I want to play Living as a Problem, because this is one of my all-time favorites. If I had to choose 10 songs in my life, I think that would definitely be in it. And this album, Puzzle, still means so much to me, probably if I look back on your career and I had to name one album, this would be it, although I like all the others as well. And I remember back then, of course, that you wrote it after the incredible loss of your mom. And so now this time I read that you've lost a lot of friends after the last record, and also your grandmother. So I was wondering, was it hard to start again then, or was it easy because you felt so much grief in yourself?
It's a tough one. I don't think it felt easy. It felt like the dust had to settle. See, even when I was writing Puzzle, it wasn't like in the immediate aftermath. I think you try and kind of get on with your life and help the people around you who are suffering most, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's not something that I consciously think about in the time. It's almost later when I look back and see what songs I've written in that period are about. I never necessarily sit down and think I'm going to express myself right now. It kind of happens a bit more accidentally than that. But it's been it's just as you get older, I guess you learn to roll with the punches a little more. You have to roll with the punches, because I think you could let life really, really get you down if you don't at least look for the kind of the sun coming through the clouds. So it was a much tougher time back in 2007 for me, but yeah, it's just tough. It's tough when anyone loses someone they love, or if someone's taken away from someone that you love, or so I don't think you ever get used to it as a human. Like, even though it's inevitable, part of being born is going to be dying. So but yeah, rainbows, unicorns and shit.
Love. I was thinking about the title of the record, Ellipsis. Do you say ellipsis or ellipsis?
Ellipsis. Ellipsis.
Ellipsis. Okay, so the first thing that came to my mind, oh God, it has something to do with mathematics. And, that was my nightmare in school.
Oh, really?
So I was, oh no, I'm not going to think about it. And then I was Googling it. And then I thought, oh, it also has something to do with language or with linguistic. Which I love, because language and talking and writing, that's what I'm in. So I was wondering, what does it mean? What kind of ellipsis is it?
It's a pause in thought. So it feels like this album, people are kind of joining us 18 months, 2 years into our thought process for this album. So we've formulated the songs, we've formulated the concept, the artwork. And it feels like the first song, when people press play on the album, it's like they're coming in halfway through our thought process. So it's kind of a pause just before we start something. And if it was as important that visually the idea worked as well, like the thought of an ellipsis, with us being three, that's what the artwork was kind of representing. We're almost a human ellipsis, so we're like almost pausing ourselves and kind of trying to be reborn and trying to kind of just remain as excited as we've always been about music, and never sink into a routine. This should never become a job to us. It should never be a job. And I think my fear always is the more albums you make, the easier it is to just become blasé and think, hey, we're great, we can just make an album and everyone will think it's great. And I would never want that to happen with our band. And we had to kind of force ourselves in this album to make sure that didn't happen. We wanted to move into a new area, a new sonic for the band, but there was definitely points where we thought it would be really easy to just go and make a record with Garth again or something, so we had to stick to our guns. But yeah, it's Ellipsis kind of indicates that we've changed our thought process, and people are now coming in after us having changed it and kind of formulated a new part of the journey.
You look like vulnerable babies in this position. Would you agree?
Very much so, yeah. I think that is the idea. And I guess we wanted to feel vulnerable, like Simon said. We wanted to kind of step out of our comfort zone, which had been with Garth Richardson and recording these big...
Garth Richardson, by the way.
Yeah, big Garth Richardson. And So yeah, we we want to feel vulnerable. I guess that's the idea. We want to feel like we've been stripped back, or we've kind of unlearned everything that we knew from before. And I think the image of us in the front of the album naked like that is definitely gives that impression. And also just it was Simon's idea to do it, and personally hearing it, I was like, this could be a terrible idea, and this is terrifying. But James was brave enough to be the first person to have his photo taken in that position, and when we saw it, it was just the most arresting image we'd ever seen, and it was so stark, and it kind of took our breath away in a way that we didn't expect, and it had such an effect, because we've all seen each other in from every angle imaginable, you know, but this was, you know, it's my twin brother, and to see that image was just absolutely mind blowing, and we knew that it kind of conveyed the feeling we wanted people to have when they thought about this album, and so yeah, we are the human ellipsis on the front of that.
Guys, I'm glad that you're back with new music, and I'm looking forward to see you live this year.
Yeah, we can't wait actually to. We've played a handful of shows so far at festivals, but the summer's getting better as it's going on, and we can't wait to come back and do some headline shows. I think is it November? I think we're back, and you know, you guys in Germany treated us so well over the years, and we enjoy spending so much time here. So we hope you guys aren't getting bored of us, because we're certainly not getting bored of you, and you're gonna like us or lump us. We're gonna be here, but we're gonna be great shows. Can't wait. We got a cool new kind of stage set and everything, and a new album to play. So we'll be going on Springsteen 4.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna come to Roskilde. And you're one of the reasons why.
Superb, great. Maybe you can join us on stage.
I hope so. It was funny this morning. I was sitting naked on the table, and my girlfriend said, "Well, maybe you should go like this." And I said, "Well, it would fit with Biffy Clyro. It's just, you know, probably people would call me like, 'Oh, you bitch,' although I'm not, you know." But
maybe.
I wouldn't have had a problem, to be honest, because I think this is how nature made me, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. You might get a few pelters from the front row, though, isn't it? Who is she? Why is she up there with my band? You know.
So yeah, thanks to the T-shirt.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's a Roskilde. Brilliant. Look
Okay,
forward
next time Roskilde, we're gonna do it naked, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Can't wait. Yeah.
Now I have a future.
Oh yeah, you have a future with us, of course.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks.